Hi guys, Andy here. We are a few hours away from the set release, and I wanted to talk to you about the card list since we got the full card list of the set 9 in Duel Masters Plays, and wanted to give you some info about the cards, my personal ideas on how I would play the cards or in what decks. And if you didn't have the time to think about decks, or you have no inspiration, or you're new to OCG and you didn't play these cards back in the past, I'm here to help you and give you my personal thoughts about the cards and how I would play them and what decks I would build. Because maybe there are others who are aiming for masters or legends rank reach. And without further ado, let's move to the card list and talk about them. Okay, so the first one is this big blocker. um I mean, it can potentially go big. This was meant for Heaven's Gate because Elixir is rotating out of new division, and it's more oriented to the blocker decks because the 5C Heaven's Gate, as it is now, you just throw the control cards that are good, the most meta control cards, and just make the deck tier 1. And they want it to be Heaven's Gate to be more blocker oriented. uh, this goes potentially good with Mul because it gets plus 6k instead of just plus 3k. um Not sure how meta this will be. I don't remember it being in the OCG, so I think this is an exclusive card, but we'll have to see. Next we have Emperor Marco, which received a little buff. um this one is definitely gonna be in the meta because it's so good, it has so much draw power, and you can bounce a bigger blocker than him that can potentially block and destroy him. And mm, he, it can be played with in mono water, in water nature, and I think light water with Agapitos because we have a light water multicolored Cyberlord, 3 mana 4k, the Sirion, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I guess Agapitos will be played again this set because why not? It's such a good card and versatile. Okay, the reworked Balom Emperor received a little buff. I don't think it's that important, but it gives you synergy with Black Lucifer. Um, but I don't know what to say in this meta. This, I think it will be a control meta, and you'll have a lot of darkness. Maybe in the next set when we'll have monocolored cards, but for this set, yeah, it can be good, but I'm not sure how much non-darkness players will play. We'll have to see. It's heavy dependent on that. But whenever you'll have a meta full of non-darkness and maybe light, yeah, can be good against Agapitos, but we have other options as well, better, cheaper. But the fact that it requires you to have a bait on the field, and which we know for demon commands is really hard because they are meant to be suicidal. I mean, look at Olzekia. Um, and depending on how much removal your opponent plays, this can or can be good. But Black Lucifer, with Black Lucifer, it can definitely be like a tier 3 deck. Not sure about more. I don't think it can reach tier 2, but Black Lucifer can definitely be played now because he has resistance removal. Okay, the reworked Bolmitius Musha Dragon. Uh, I know that he's a fan favorite. He's been buffed a little. Um, how good it will be? I think it can reach tier 2 because you can play it in a light fire nature deck, of course, with Agapitos because she can spam Musha Lupia. Um, but yeah, I think only light fire nature. Light fire can be good, but with these decks, if the combo doesn't work, if either Bolmetios or Musha Lupia don't survive, you'll not do much and your opponent will control you for the rest of the match. Yeah. I really hope, because it's a card that I like, that it will be good and it will see play. It has some potential, at least. Okay, now this fairy. um it has a strong effect, but at 2k, I don't know what to say. Even at 3k, we have a lot of removal. I think starting with 4k, um it it's harder to remove, but yeah, it has a really good effect, but I'm not sure it will survive. You can fairy life and then fairy gift into it, but it's not good mid game. It's not good late game. It has potential. I hope, because I like the effect and I hope it will be good. But I don't know what to say about it. Nah, not really impressed with it. Okay, we have the nerfed King Alcadias, but I don't know how much you think it was nerfed. I don't think that much. In my opinion, this is definitely the best card in this set, even if it's once per turn. I'm still not sure if Dina or Takara clarified if you get to choose when the first time is, or the effect triggers when the first monocolored enters. For example, you put a Bronze Iron Tribe and then an Aqua Surfer. Don't know if they let you choose, but I think they will, and they should. What to say more about this card? It was restricted in OCG and then banned and never got released. It received a weaker version, a work, but it's still there as a legend status card. Really iconic, and we have the honor to play it again in Duel Masters Plays. Really looking forward to pack King Alcadias. Um, yeah, I like double removal. This one is definitely good in a fair water, mm, maybe nature aggro deck. Um, in new division or in all division, I think it has good synergy with the oh, Giants. Yeah, but double removal, and yeah, we're talking again about the removal for 6k or less. You can destroy Musha, you can destroy Agapitos, and for bounce, you can bounce King or Queen Alcadias. I think this might be a good anti-meta solution. This card I don't like it at all. Um, as good as it is, it gives you linked gods with speed attacker and ready to do some attack triggers. 13 mana to costly. I don't think you can defend that late in the game. I really don't. Not even in Heaven's Gate, since I think that is the most defensive deck out there in the game. It lost Elixia in New Division, and maybe you can try it in a 5C with Fairy Miracle, but I definitely don't like this card, and I don't think it will become meta. Maybe a tier 3 or somewhere lower, but not meta potential. Another useless card in my opinion. Not sure how you can play this effectively. It's a 3 card and maybe a 2 or 3 turns investment and a pit on it makes you 0 value. Um, Not SR worthy in my opinion. Okay, now we have Zenaku. Here, we know that Zenaku is the strongest god in OCG. I mean, it was at that time. Um, Here, depending on how much you control the opponent, Zenaku can be really good or not. The thing with Zenaku is that it gives you little to no value when it enters the battlefield. It doesn't have an ETB, and neither part is really good, I'd say. But once it's linked, yeah, this is where you should be aiming. When it's linked, it's really good. You can destroy a Geikimetsu, you can destroy anything. But you really need to control your opponent and not give him removal options in his hand, because uh, you get no value for resummoning any part. This is only good when it's linked. Otherwise, I don't think you're better off with Gekimetsu, because both parts have really good effects when entering the battle zone. That's the thing with Zenaku. No ETB for neither part, but if you control your opponent enough and you have a lot of control options here, you can definitely make this work. Maybe tier 2 to 1 here. It definitely has potential, but you pretty much have to discard your opponent's hand, like, really much, because you don't want to lose this. um Even if it's bounced or destroyed and it goes into your hand, yeah, you don't want it to be sent to mana, but otherwise you're okay. But you have to protect it because you need 14 mana investment and 2 turns, and you only get value when you link the god, so you really need to aim to do that. As for decks, think light water darkness control, you can add nature, you can make it 5C. But this is meta dependent. You play a few games and you see what your opponents play, and if they're playing a lot of rush, yeah, add fire. Definitely working with Gekimetsu in a 5C. No point in arguing, but think I was hoping for more with this card. Yeah, sound a little bit disappointed because I am. Maybe at least Zen, when it would come in the battle zone, could have returned the spell from graveyard. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe it will be really good. Okay, I think this is another useless card. Don't see any deck or strategy to play this in. So I think I'm gonna skip it because I never liked the card, nor do I like it here. Yeah. Uh, mm, this will be really good when we'll have monocolor decks in meta, but in this meta, I don't know, maybe good against Musha or Agapitos, but they'll come back again and trigger ETBs. So yeah, maybe in the future, not now. Okay, the buffed super trash train. Uh, yeah, it's good in decks with darkness, especially in mono darkness. This will be the draw engine. You can tell that this was meant for mono darkness. Hmm. Powerful, hard to remove. You have the removal from darkness. You will discard your opponent, you will destroy his creatures, you will draw cards, you will destroy your own creatures, you will draw cards. I hope it will see play because it has potential, and your darkness creatures having Slayer, you can attack with Winnies and destroy some big threats. So looking forward to see him played. Okay, Bolshakiyamata Dragon also received a small buff. It gets the +1k power when battling, not only when attacking. Um, Obvious combo with uh, Musha Dragon. Um, and what can I say? I hope it will see play. I really hope that Musha, either if it's light fire or light fire nature, I hope it will see play and be good because I've always liked the card. But with so much removal of 6k or less, not sure what to say about this. I hope for tier 2 for this deck. Okay, the Dreammate or Arc Seraphim evolution. Um, a little bit of draw engine here. 7 mana, I'd say it's a little bit too much. Yeah, you have some ramp, but when you have 7 mana, your opponent will also be ready for it. Draw engine and cost reduction. It has some potential. It's always good to have cards in your hand, right? Isn't it? It's always good. Think you can fit like 2 copies in Panda, but with Soldarius, I don't think there is enough place in that deck. 7 mana, 7k, yeah, the power is good, but also Soldarius is 6, 7k. Don't think it has a place in the Arc Seraphim deck. Yeah. Okay, Queen Alcadias. A little bit nerfed in the power category. Has 1k less now, being at 8k. Probably it makes more sense in order to be killed by King Alcadias or Gyolg. Mm, your opponent can cast non-multicolor spells, no restriction. Really good. Can cast Heaven's Gate, can cast Holy Oath. I know for sure that these are the spells that players hate the most in this game. And starting now, the spell lockdown is real. We have Mercury, we have Spell Delphine, we have Queen Alcadias. We will have a lot of controls this meta, definitely. Now this Queen Alcadias can be played with the king in in their deck. Can be light darkness, light water darkness, definitely 5C, or light water darkness nature. Not sure you need the fire because you'll have a lot of removal anyway, and you can adapt Silver Jolg. Back in the days, it was played with Max Val, Vega. Now we have a better pointer, but if I'm not mistaken, it rotates out of new division. So yeah, we received the enemy 5 mana 2Ks, so you'll have to play those. Vega really strong. Mm, but what we also have here is a lot of removal on multicolored cards. So, and also I think Mardox is rotating out of new division. It will be really interesting. Yeah, we have some new removal on multicolor part, but Queen definitely in meta, at least tier 2, but I'm pretty sure it will be tier 1. Your opponent will pretty much not have that chance of coming back by a lucky Holio or Heaven's Gate. So, in my opinion, it's really much. And the 8k, yeah, it makes sense. It's not like it's 6k, it's still high power. Okay. Uh, yeah, this Ingmar, I like it. I think you can play it in Light Fire Rush in the Musha deck because it obviously has at least Light Fire in Sieves that he runs. Um, you still need to survive with 1 or 0 shields in order to summon this guy for 4 mana. I would have liked it more if it would have been with 2 shields or less. But yeah, I mean, it could have been broken. Now it's more balanced. A field wipe with 11k power. I think it will be played in more decks than the one that I've stated. Now, Mephisto. Really like this card. Not sure how good it will be, but I definitely like it. Um, You can say it's a better or more restrictive Albatross, but in a deck of a lot of multicolored cards, um, you will have a little bit of draw and a little bit of spam from deck for water or nature creatures. I think that cost 3 or less. Oh yeah, so it's not 5. Yeah, it's 3 or less. But oh, hmm. Now that I think of it, I'm not sure I like it so much. Um, what good cards can you spam? Definitely, you need to play this in an aggro deck. Maybe in. Hmm, what can you spam? A Hulkas, a Bronze Tribe, an Ulkos. Still good. We know from Agapitos how good the spam from deck is. But what to play this in? Now that I read that it's 3 or less, I thought it was 5. Hmm, definitely in an aggro deck. But I can't think of any right now. So I think we should move to the next card. Okay, Hexpain. This is a fan favorite from the Balon Quake Chronicle. A little bit of rework to work for Duel Masters plays. No nerf in my opinion. I think it's even better with the surge mechanic. Why? Because you get one card in your hand, one mana, and one in grave, and most likely it will help you burn one door balloon from your mana that accidentally got there. Maybe you ramped it with Fairy Life, Dark Life, or you were forced to charge with it. Hexpain will take care of that. Definitely we'll see a Darkness Nature door balloon deck this set, no questions about that. We also got triple mouth, so Darkness Nature door balloon will be a thing. So Dark Life, Fairy Life, triple mouth, Hexpain, and at cost 7 it ramps you straight to how was it called? I forgot its name. Barlow. Yeah, it ramps you straight into Barlow. So you have a really good curve in this deck. Also Slash Charger, forgot to mention, or you can add fire and play that new Crusade Charger. If you want to adapt Gekimetsu and play Fire Down in Nature, you can do that. No one can stop you. It will work. What other decks? Being a giant, I think you can move to all division and put it in the giants deck. Um, has a really good ETB effect. Searching from 3 creatures. If you play um a big amount or a decent amount of spells, you can always draw what you want. That's what I recommend in Dorbalom at least. Don't play as many creatures. You'll want to draw that Barlow with Hexpain in case you don't have it in your hand. Um, and yeah, I can work with Kirino Giant. So Kirino Giant and next turn Hexpain. Drawing potentially into Titan Giant or the Water Nature one, Dolge. Dolgeza, yeah. But giving us Hexpain so early, not sure they really love Dorbalom, at least more than Alfadios, because Alfadios got nothing this set. Um, so we're expecting Dorbalom tier 2 or tier 1. But one thing is sure, Dorbalom will appear really fast. I think you can have it turn 6 no problem with so much ramp in this deck. And now with Hexpain, you'll surely have Dorbalom in your graveyard. You don't rely only on Slash Charger. What can you wish for more? How will you counter Dorbalom? Yeah, in terms of mana burn, as I've said with Balom Emperor, you'll not. I think it will be a Darkness dominant meta, but mm, mm, but still, 6 turn, destroy non-darkness, burn non-darkness mana. Think you'll draw back your opponent a little bit, so it still gives some value, right? Plus a triple breaker with speed attacker and decent power, and yeah, definitely Dorbalom is an anti-Heaven's Gate, but as I said earlier, I don't think Heaven's Gate will make a return in New Division, not being top tier at least. And Heaven's Gate was top tier for the last 4 or 5 sets, the best deck you could have played. One of the most expensive in terms of DM points, but really effective. Okay, enough about Hexpain. Yeah, you can tell that I like the card and it's good. You can't hate it. You can only hate it when it's too good. Okay, the shield trigger will self discard. It can definitely be in the madness deck. Can be fun or can be really good depending. It's multicolored, so no King Alcadias lockdown on him. Um, so if you play this guy with a Ridoro and do some kind of 5C madness deck, I think it can really work. We don't have Pakurio yet, so I think this deck will be more than a fun deck. I mean, your opponent will eventually have to hit you. And in all division, you can set this in your shield with Sandra Parmar, but in new division, you'll have to. You'll need luck to have it as a trigger already, but I think you can get it. And even if this isn't in your shields, you'll have Ridoro to block with it. Um, and hope that your opponent will destroy it somehow. If they play a full control deck with removal, destruction, and discard, you'll pretty much win the game. Your opponent has no weapon against you. This happened to me 3 times in New Division. Lost hard to Heaven's Gate, switched to a Fire Darkness heavy removal control deck, and 3 times in a row I got matched against a Redor deck, and you can't do anything. Can't play discard, can't play removal, can't attack because Redor. So I think we'll see more of this madness deck. And I like that Takara gives us anti discard options, because back in the days we know from TCG until old OCG finished DM39, this card was really good and was a really big thing. I like that they nerfed Jenny and you only discard your opponent with a combo when a creature is destroyed, or when you invest some mana, at least five, because random discard is really powerful, and you shouldn't have it for any card like Ghost Touch or Locomotive Error. So um uh, I'm really happy with the changes they made to this card. That they nerfed it a little bit. It's not nerfed at all. It's not useless. It can definitely be useful, but played more like in the late game, mid to late game. But it's not fun discarding your opponent starting with turn 2, play this card every turn. What will your opponent play? What will he do? So I'm content with what they did. The new shield trigger angel command is good that it's an angel command and has shield trigger. Blocker can attack your opponent, which is not that much because it has 2k, but still can finish the game. And your multicolor creatures gain blocker. I guess this is the card that the Alcadias deck received. Best support in the world, right? Not sure how to feel about this. You can play Wulkos with Agapitos and ramp, and Wulkos will get blocker, so kind of more defense. But I don't know, maybe if you find some crazy combo to play this guy in. Okay, the new Lupia, Ashiga Lupia for Musha deck, 2k, low on power. It will not survive. I think it was meant for a combo with Musha Lupia and Bolmitius Musha. When Bolmitius would burn one of your shields, you'll get two shields in return, but two creatures with 2k, and in that deck that doesn't have draw, I don't think it's gonna work, in my opinion. I think you should be better off playing something else instead of this Lupia. I think that Bolmitius Musha with Musha Lupia, it's enough, so you will not burn your shields and lose to one shield trigger creature. But this is greedy and it's not meant for the deck because the deck is supposed to be aggressive, not build defense. And as I've said before, you need at least 3k. But I don't think 3k is not enough anymore, so but at least 3k. At 4k you're good. Quechua is still good in all division. It wrecks your opponent. Okay, Procedia Dragon Evolution. Your dragons can be blocked. 13k triple breaker. No usage, in my opinion. Your dragons can be blocked. And you should evolve this on a dragon. Maybe in the Dragarian deck or in the Invincible Technology deck, but nah. I don't think so. Pretty much no value on the field, no ETB, no attack trigger. Just your dragons can be blocked. Zwei can be blocked, and it has gravity 0, so I don't know, not worth it. Now this Grand Devil, bouncing blockers for losing your hand. I don't think is the way to go. Crystal Paladin bounce the opponent's blocker just by evolving and you wouldn't lose your hand. So if you hit a Heaven's Gate, guess what? Those blockers will make a return. Do you want that? I don't think so. I don't know what the devs thought. Maybe they have a better idea with this card than I have. Okay, this shield trigger, pretty interesting. Works with the deck type because you will have a lot of Grand Devils on the field, or at least until Metsu comes out and wipes your field. But at 8 mana, yeah, if you have 6, you can give minus 12k to one of your opponent's creatures for 6 Grand Devils. If you have 7, you can summon it. 8 mana, 1k. You can play, but I think maximum 2 copies of this card is not meant to be played as a playset, because sometimes you may not have card in your hand and you draw into this maybe 2 turns in a row. You have 2 dead turns. Yeah, you can charge it in your mana zone, but when you have cards in your hand, this deck can have or can't have card in their hand. Depending on what your opponent plays, on how much you're forced to reinvest in the fields, because the Grand Devils don't have a lot of power and they will be destroyed. I don't recommend more than 2 copies of this guy, or none at all. It's too expensive. Yeah, I know it's a powerful effect, but you'll never be able to hardcast this in a Grand Devil deck. So let's move on. Now, this is a good demon command. A 2k, yeah. As I said with demon commands, they always have drawbacks. That's why they got us Barlow for Dorbalon, because you would never have been able to manually evolve Dorbalon. This is 2k. But it has a really good ETB, in my opinion. Giving minus 3k, still good. I would consider it. And with Overdrive 1, if you tap 1 fire mana when you summon this guy, you can destroy one of your opponent's creatures that has 3k or less. So for 6 mana, you get a body, and you can potentially destroy one of your opponent's creatures that has 6k or less. So again, the target is 6k in this set. We're talking about 6k removal. So for 6 mana, 1 body, demon command, potentially destroying, if you decide to play with fire, which I recommend. So potential 6k removal, really good. I think people are really angry with Agapitos because they're giving us a lot of 6k removal. So think pretty much every deck you will play, you will pretty much have a removal for Agapitos. Agapitos also being a blocker, but as I've said, Galeg rotates out of new division, so I understand what they're trying to do here. But it's not a replacement in terms of removal, it's a lot of addition, if you ask me. But they had to give us a good bait for Balom Emperor, and we have one. I'm not sure if That Mori can be played in New Division, but I think not. Yeah, you can play it. It would be really good if you could. Because that's the best bait. This one being a 2K Phantom Bites, Metsu, I don't know, you name it, everything. That's why I said we need at least 3K in order to survive on the field. But it's good. The card is good. You will see it being played. Maybe Fire Darkness, Gekimetsu, Dorbalom, Balom, Emperor. It has potential. It's good removal, and also it's a potential 2-for-1 removal. You can destroy 2 Winnies, 3K or less. Let's not omit that. You always want a 2-for-1, a 1-for-2 removal, like Olzekia, like Birgias. This guy, I thought it was Bilgias. I don't know. Yeah, Google Translate. Um, moving on. Hermitius. Um, seeing some Revolution 01 effects here. Oh, pretty much, yeah. It's an effect from OCG. When you have no shields, it's Revolution 0. When you have one shield, it's Revolution 1. So this guy gets speed attacker. If you have it on the field and your last shield leaves, you destroy all creature with power 5k or less. But and that 8k is good. This is meant for so you need to have it on the field and you need your opponent to hit a Holio or something to stop the turn, basically. Because so you need one on the field when you cast Holio as your last shield, or I mean anything to save you and your opponent's turn somehow, and then next turn you need to have another of these guys in your hand with speed attacker. Pretty conditional effect, and if you didn't know, players don't attack you until they're sure they'll win. It's hard to make usage of this guy. Yeah, Holio can save you, but trust me, your opponent thought of your Holio, so I don't know. Not much map value here. Okay, a really good spell. Shield trigger, destroy creature with 6k or less. If you have Musha on the field, you destroy another creature. And if you have both Yamato and Musha, you destroy 2 creatures that have 12k or less. Good removal spell. Good removal on fire. What can I say? The spell is good, it's strong. And you will see it being played. Okay. Mana burn 1, ramping 1. Um, think this is decent, and depending on how early you can summon this guy, you can make it useful. Because on turn 7, nah, no value on turn 7, but maybe on turn 5. And it can ramp you in things with 9 mana, like Spell Delphine. It's another dragon, but hmm, dragons are not so meta these days, are they? Maybe besides Spell Delphine and Sapphire. Hmm, not the greatest card. And burning one mana, it's kinda meh. Starting with two, it's really dangerous. There you can see some mana burn, but with only one, nah. Let's move. Okay, the new. I mean, it's not new. It was in OCG as well. It's changed a little bit, and I think it's good. You will see it played in Panda, giving +1k to your other dreammates. Again, changing the attack to another dreammate. And if you have an evolution on the field, your opponent can choose this creature. It will still die to Metsu, but I think that's a really good thing. Yeah, I like the card. I'd definitely play it as a turn 2. And +1k for small creatures. Imagine it will give +1k to Ulkos, so it will not be killed by Metsu. And not being chosen. This is another big advantage because fixed removal won't work on him. You attack with Kenji and you'll Totomeda with this guy. Unless they have a burst shot, but no one plays burst shot. Everybody plays Hell Scraper. It gives you pretty much secure attack on your opponent's face. So yeah, definitely good. Okay, Vega. The most powerful 5-2k we had. A little bit nerf with the shield edition, but all the ones that have light have this nerf. Sky Sword, Stol, Vega. But you have the random discard, and back in the days, this guy with Queen Alcadias. Oh man, so much pain. I still remember. At 4 mana, so you had the what you had on the field. You had the 3 mana 2k that gives -1 cost reduction to your darkness creatures, and then you would summon Vega for 4 mana, and then Queen Alcadias for 5 mana, and pretty much control your opponent from that point. So powerful back in the days. It will be pretty powerful now. Can play it with Queen Alcadias. Can evolve Queen King over him. And looking forward to play this card. Yeah, it's really powerful in multicolored decks. Can evolve Violence Thunder on him. Oh, and let's not forget about Gulk. Yeah. Oh man. The controls are gonna dominate this meta. Oh yeah, I forgot its name. It was Max Val. So turn 3 Max Val, then Vega, then Queen Alcadias, or now Gulk. Okay, another 5-2k. This one destroys a blocker, and again with the shield restriction, if you have 5 shields or less, you get 1 shield from top. Um, this was not played so much back in the days because we had the meta full of controls, at least until Darkness Nature Rush appeared. Um, Destroying one blocker. This would have been useful with the Heaven's Gate meta. Now, not sure. You already have a lot of options for Agapitos, so yeah, definitely not that usable, I'd say. Now, the I don't know how to say new reworked King Alcadias, for those it's Fire Darkness and it has a really good effect destroying a card with cost 4 or less. Definitely here would have been powerful to basically destroy a creature of cost 4 or less, because we don't have any cards. We don't have cross gears, we don't have D2 fields, we don't have drag hearts. But I don't know why they changed it to be light fire instead of fire darkness. Maybe to have synergy with the Volmitius Musha deck, because you're not gonna play darkness in that deck, definitely not. So making it light fire shield trigger with blocker, because they had to replace the Slayer, obviously, and ETB destroy one creature to care less. So think it's decent, it's good. Also, in an aggressive deck to have shield trigger creatures, definitely a big advantage. Can help in mirror matches. You can destroy one of your opponents. Alcadias. I like the card in OCG. It's really good. It's a staple in control decks. Here, I think it will be good. And also, oh yeah, let's not forget about Light Fire Rush. Definitely, we'll see a return of it with Alcadias. A really good trigger. I know it's 4 mana, but still, if you don't get it from your shields, you can hard summon it. I mean, 4 mana, it's still okay for rush, because you get a removal and you get a blocker, so can help you win against your opponent's rush. Thing with light fire rush is that it doesn't have powerful creatures like darkness nature has, but you can defeat other rushes, fire nature, another light fire, and potentially darkness nature, because yeah, they have some powerful creatures. On darkness, I think it's one with 4k, and also on fire is one with 4k, and we have some with 3k. But you also have some creature with 2k or 1k, or Talk. Yeah, you will use Jack Alcadias to destroy a Talk that can potentially Totomeda you, right? You will. So it's a good addition that we have the whole Alcadias family. Nice. Okay, this card. Shield trigger. Destroy one of your opponent's creatures and replace with a non-evo from his grave. Well, if you destroy a linked Gekimetsu and replace with a Bronze Arm Tribe, don't think it's that bad. But I've never liked this kind of removal. Reminds me of Soul Swap. You still don't remove the creature entirely, you just replace it. But um one thing this card will work is against heavy spell decks with gods. You destroy a god. If your opponent has only spells in his grave, you'll not be able to replace the destroyed god with anything, because the destroyed gods go into grave as god cards. So he'll need a creature. Can definitely work, and in the reveal from Takara, we already saw some decks that run a lot of creature, a lot of spells, a lot of god cards, and some support creatures like an Alcos. So this can definitely work for 4 mana to destroy a linked Gekimetsu or a linked Zenaku. They invested 14 mana to do that. And if you also don't have a creature to replace the destroyed god, it's only win for you. Of course, it's situational. You can also meet a Bolmitius Musha deck, and you'll have to choose from Musha Yamato or maybe Musha Lupia or something. But for control decks, of course you can also think further and maybe use the 2 mana Great Mecha King to shuffle your opponent's graveyard, and then now I think better this is meant as a god removal. Or also evolution creatures. You destroy an evolution creature and you replace it with the bait. I mean, it's still better, not optimal, but you can make something of it. That's what I'm trying to prove. I'm not saying it's meta worthy or SR worthy, or I don't know. It can be used. If you didn't notice, Takara is releasing cards to help in the meta, to counter the meta. Definitely doing that here. And I think it's good. It's way better than they did things back in the days when you just had meta and no anti-meta, basically. Or the anti-meta would be released like sets or sets later. So they're doing a really good thing maintaining the meta balanced. I like how they're running things with DMP. Really like. Okay, another 5-2K. When enters, draw a card and destroy a blocker. Again, really good in a Heaven's Gate meta now. I don't know. We don't have a lot of blockers. I don't think we'll have. We'll have a lot of spell removal, creature removal. Not sure how many blockers we will see. Really not sure. I know for sure that the Japanese players will try to resurrect the Heaven's Gate deck after losing Elixir, and I think they will be successful in doing that, but it will not be as strong as it used to be. You would look on Kami game. My friends told me that in the last sets, Heaven's Gate was always rated 9.5, which is almost a perfect deck. No real counters. Or, I mean, you could have played that Fire Darkness control that I played, but you're also dependent on the matchup, because if you don't get matched against Heaven's Gate, or you get matched against a Madness deck, you will not move a single piece on the field. You might as well just concede. But you can still play it in an aggressive deck. Water, Fire, Nature, Water, Fire, Light, or Light, Water, Fire, Nature. I've seen some people using these colors to build aggro decks. but I think it's kinda late for this card. This one might be better. Draw a card, ramping one, again for aggressiveness. Beast Folk Liquid People. You can play it with the 7 mana 10k Evolution Beast Folk, I guess. It ramps you right into it. I think it's still viable in New Division. It got released with Sapphire set. I don't remember. Liquid People not really usable. We know from OCG that we start with Liquid People and then move to Cyber Lords or Cyber Viruses or Cyber Race in general. Liquid People pretty much don't make a comeback. Not usable in Zwei. No, you wouldn't want to put nature in that deck. It's good as a mono water deck. This one more for ramp decks or a fire water nature aggressive deck with that improved fighter Dwellfang, because it has a good curve. It ramps you into 7 mana. Okay, and welcome to probably the most meta, most used spell in this set, because it can basically send Queen Alcadias to the mana zone and you'll not be able to recover her from mana. The drawing and pretty much filtering your hand, maybe draw a good card and send one useless card back to the deck, but this is a better natural snare, or how to say, a natural snare that works on Queen Alcadias. Still at 6 mana, water nature, really good. Can play it in anything that has these colors, or in the 5Cs. I think we will have a lot of 5C decks in this meta with Fairy Miracle and lots of multicolored creatures. Also with 3 sieves. It will surely work. Okay, moving on to the most expected card, by me at least, Triple Mouth. I will play it in the Darkness Nature Door Balloon. Of course. Why would I not do that? Ramping one, it ramps you to 7 mana into Hexpain. One random discard. I like that they didn't touch it. Really good. Looking forward to play it. Now this guy, not sure how would I play it. Maybe in a combo deck, but being a 1k, not having speed attacker, easy to remove. So by destroying your multicolored creatures, you increase this by plus 3k. Here I don't understand that if for any destroyed creatures, any multicolored creature destroyed this way, he gets plus 3k and you burn your opponent's shields, or you burn your own shields. I hope it's for the opponent, because I wouldn't burn my shields for this guy to get plus 3k. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's for it's for the opponent. Being 5k, definitely 5 mana definitely work with the Albatross, and I really like that Albatross becomes, I don't know, tier 1 meta, because I like the card so much. I really like it, and I hope it becomes meta. I know it's being played with Agapitos, but I wanted to have its own deck and really work good and consistent. Yeah, that's the problem with Albatross consistency. You also need a little bit of draw in that deck. And I tried with Miss Gias, but let's hope that this set we will see Albatross win consistently. Okay, this god, I don't think I have an opinion on it. Um, mm, yeah, I don't think I have any opinion on this god. Let's just move. Okay, and another high cost shield trigger of 1k for the Arc Seraphims. When it enters the battle zone, you tap random untapped creatures, one for each of your Arc Seraphims in the battle zone. I think this one is more playable because in the Arc Seraphim deck you have ramp, you'll reach 7 mana. Think it can be okay. But we also have one spell that is 3k and taps one of your opponent's creatures for one of your for each creature you have in the battle zone that has the majority of races on the field. So if you have 3 Arc Seraphims and 2 Initiates, you'll tap 3 of your opponent's creatures. But that's a spell, and it's 3k, and this is a creature, a body on the field, 7k, at 7 mana. But definitely I'd play this more often than the Darkness trigger for Ren Devils. Definitely, no discussion about that. Okay, Murmur. Your other blockers gain 3k power, and himself has 2k. I think it's unchanged from the original, yeah. Definitely making a combo with the 5 mana blocker from the start of this video. Giving it 6k instead of just 3. Can be spammed by Agapitos. That's why I think that Heaven's Gate will be repaired somehow by the 5 mana blocker and by more. So what happens in the best case scenario? You have some cards in your hand, either your opponent hits Heaven's Gate or you cast Heaven's Gate from your hand. You put in the battle zone Agapitos and the 5 mana blocker, and Agapito spams Murmur, and you'll have your your 5 mana blocker at 12k, your Agapitos at 9k, Murmur, and yeah, from there you will just start. You will just continue spamming blockers to make the 5 mana blocker more powerful. And yeah, as I've said, I think it was meant as a replacement for Elixir because it rotates out of new division. Murmur was played also back in the day, so it will definitely be played. But it all only has synergy with blockers, and I think this is how things should be. I don't really like versatile cards. I mean, for a game like DMP, where you need to craft cards, open cards, yeah, you will want all around cards. versatile cards. But for a fair game, cards should not be as versatile as they were in DMP. The Heaven's Gate control is just a bunch of control cards gathered in the same place and working good with each other because you have the best defense in the game with Heaven's Gate. So yeah, I like specialized cards more. Okay, Space Crawler. I think if you have at least 3 sieves, maybe starting from 4 sieves, this is a good search in the deck. Uh, was played with Zenaku back in the days. Light Water Darkness Nature, Space Crawler, always getting you that Vega or Sky Sword. Yeah, I think you would aim for Sky Sword in the early game and for Vega in the late game, maybe to potentially discard one of your opponent's Ninja Strikes from their hand. But with Zenaku, as I've said, you really need to have it linked and to survive for maybe 2 turns to attack with it and destroy at least one of your opponent's creatures to be worth it. Yeah, best to use Space Crawler in a 5C, and as I've said, you'll see a lot of 5Cs, a lot of 5C decks in this set. Also, if you play it with Dolgeza in the Giants deck, Water Darkness Nature, or even move to All Division in order to play the Titan Giant, that's so good. I hope we will get him in some deck, in some pre-made deck, because that card is so good and I really miss it. Really want Titan Giant to make a return in New Division. Okay, this is an interesting card. It has potential. For 3 mana, you bounce any of your opponent's creatures back to their hand, no cost or power restriction. And if you play Darkness, which I advise you to, you tap 1 more mana and you return one of your creatures from your graveyard. I really like this card. Bounce plus return from graveyard. Why not? Okay. Zombie Dragon, when attacking, you reanimate a creature of cost 2 or less from your graveyard and put it into the battle zone. Or maybe Dark Lupia. Can't think of anything else. But as I've said, this is not a dragon meta, but a commands and gods meta. Okay, 1 mana. I think this enters the battle zone tapped and darkness creatures enter the battle zone tapped. Why would you want this now? I don't know. I can think of some ways to make this mechanic work, and it works in OCG, but we don't have Voodoo Needle. I don't know. I really don't have any idea with this. Maybe you guys have. Six 7k double break, all creatures attack if able. Tyranno Drake. This can be used in the Fire Darkness Tyranno Drake with Dolza Bard and the 6 mana 9k creature, because it forces your opponent to attack. If you can make it last for maybe 2 turns. You'll get some draw from your shields and some shield triggers because control decks don't want to attack until they're sure they can defeat you. So this is an anti-control card. Huh. I wouldn't say it's that useful, but you can play it if you really want. Maybe you like the artwork because it looks good. Can't deny that. Okay. Lupia. When this enters the battle zone, you search for Bolmitius in your deck. And when your Bolmitius Dragon, any creature that has Bolmitius in its name attacks, you burn one of your opponent's shields. This has to be a good card. This has to be used because if you play the Musha deck and you don't have Musha in your hand, what will you do? The entire deck is based on that, so definitely need to play this to search for it. If you summon Musha Lupia turn 3 and on turn 4 you don't have Bolmitius Musha, you have another option to search for it with this Lupia and play it on turn 5 or even 6. I don't think it's that late to play Bolmitius Musha in turn 6, but you definitely need to do it as fast as possible because late game Musha will not do anything. And if you don't have Bolmitius Musha, you don't have Mononofu Lupia, you'll just need to pray to draw into Bolmitius Musha. That's the only way. I don't think the deck will run any draw engine. And I don't think you have any, maybe Magris, but nah. Or Voyager if you decide to go with Agapitos also. We'll have to see. Okay, this is the secret artwork of Bolmitius Musha. Looks really nice. The secret artwork of King Alcadias. Oh, and here we go back. Way do we go back? I'm pretty sure there are some cards that I didn't cover. Let's go to the second page here. Did I press? Not sure if I pressed. Oh, it's not working. Oh, it's working. Okay. Let's continue. With the Wild Veggie Shield Trigger. Put all evolution creatures into their owner's mana zone. I mean, except King Alcadias. Wild Vegas. Maybe in the Wave Striker deck could have been okay-ish. Fairy Miracle. A really good card. Ramp a card. If you have all civilizations in your mana zone, ramp another card. This is the second ramp that can potentially ramp you 2 cards after Call for Dragons. Because of this, even if the cards ramped are put tapped in your mana zone, I think it's still good. You can use them next turn, no problem. But in the early game, this is good. This ramps you to 6 mana, which is really good. We have a lot of goodies at 6 mana. And because of Fairy Miracle, we will see a lot of 5C decks. You can trust me on that. Blocker can't attack 5.8.5k. Not interesting. Musha Lupia, we've already talked about it. It's buffed from the original one. 3 mana now. Reduce the cost of your dragons by 1. If it's Balmitius, Musha, reduce it by 2 instead. And combo with Musha. When Musha attacks, it burns a shield. And Musha Lupia will replace that shield from top of your deck. It would have been really good if no shield was burned at all. But I guess you need to lose some to get some value from Musha. But yeah. I know this guy was played in OCG with that Nature Fortress. So when what happens here is that when you charge mana, you tap. So no, it's not when you charge. Whenever a card, even if you ramp, whenever a card is put into your mana zone, you tap the untapped creature with the lowest power. So Agapitos in Ulcos, having this guy on the field will tap 2 of your opponent's creatures. Being a guardian is no fairy. I don't think it's usable right now, but when we will get that nature fortress, I think that's when it will become really good. Because that's basically the draw engine of the deck. It's a line nature deck with snow fairies. Cyber virus. Usable Dark Lord. Not. Blocker can't attack. Overdrive. Have your opponent discard a card and then draw a card. Maybe I hope you draw a card because you pay 4 mana for this. Yeah, I think it's a point. But I can see if the discard is random, but I think not. I think the opponent chooses. This is good. I mean, I don't think you'll fulfill the gravity 0, but reshuffling 3 creatures from your graveyard back to your deck for the aggro decks, it's really good. This one.